What's today?
May 20th.
20. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today is December 20th, and it's the law of polarity. No, excuse me, the law of rhythm. Polarity was last week. Check your CDs. All right, the law of rhythm. The law states that everything vibrates and moves to certain rhythms. These rhythms establish seasons, cycles, stages of development, and patterns. Each cycle reflects the regularity of God's universe. Masters know how to rise above negative parts of a cycle by never getting too excited or allowing too many negative things to penetrate their consciousness. So today, Ryan and Ryan's wisdom will be generating a information through a channeling source. And Rick, would you like to open up the circle with the bowl?
Greetings, this fine day that we are in. Beautiful time, is it not?
Yes, it is.
So you would like to talk about rhythms now. Yes, we did talk in a way, communicated some thoughts to the keeper about some of this. But we would like to go into some things and talk about rhythms of many things that you are always involved with on a constant basis, and you are realizing around you. These rhythms are the rhythms of the earth in its own dwelling and its own place in the universe. As we speak now, there is tremendous change. And yes, there has been a lot said about these next coming days that are here. There are many things that have come to pass here that have been in the times of the calendars, that both the Egyptian and the Mayan calendars have realized this time, and yet this time is somewhat of an unknown time, a mysterious time as well. There are alignments that are happening now with all of your planets. We'll be aligning very shortly, all squared up, bringing different sorts of energies, and yes, all of the planets, including the sun, will be a part of this energetic exchange. Now you are all wondering, is this the beginning of things, the end of things, or what is all of this meaning that is transpiring around this particular time? We have some things that we could speak about here in many different fashions of your reality, of what is here, but this time is your particular time. It is the rhythm and the dance that you have and that you are bringing to your own bit of life. These rhythms are in nature, and they don't seem sometimes to be all in harmony with each other, but mind you, it is. Even the wind and how it blows is a rhythm. It is the waves that are created, and the water as it trickles down through the rivers. Each drip has its own rhythm, its own timing. You are all synchronizing with each other in your own individual way, creating its own rhythm here. You are creating your mass rhythms with your own life force and what you would like to bring forward in yourselves. Allow this time to be that time that you are gaining and understanding more of the mysteries that are there. We're not saying to also take away from the facts and the things that you have understood in that realm as well, for they both coincide as the left and right hemisphere, the north and the south poles that are here on this earth, and resonate with all that there is. is a harmonization that is taking place here. And we'd also be mindful to say that you are not better than one civilization that has taken place before you, for there has been a trip of wisdom. I bid you good evening. In an evening in a way that you can take a time now to look back into your lives. And back into your histories, if you would like to call it histories. Your mythologies that have been. For there has been a past time of civilization. And look at what that is. Whether you call it a archaeological
that thing,
astrological. There are many different things that you could look at the past as being. Mankind has been moving in its own nature, its own pathway. And there is its own path for wisdom also. And we are speaking about this eve as it is an eve of transitions of time, ages, eras. And this time is also the winter solstice that is taking place now. And we want to signify what this may mean in some ways, for there is a darkness before there is a light. And there has always been a progression and its own path of wisdom. And the wisdom before was not a negative one, a positive one, a better one, or a less better one than it is now. There has always been this wisdom that has been transpiring on this earth, although it has been taking different forms. People have worshipped, for instance, the sun, and they have looked at the brightness of the sun. And it was a worry in some cultures that the sun would not shine, and that there would be an ending of times, that the light would not be here. And so when they gathered sometimes in rituals, they would see that the sun did come again, almost like a candle about ready to give away. There was a time that people looked at much of these things. It does not matter whether your belief system is that you have been created here or you have somewhat evolved, for both has supporting views in this sort of way. And it matters not what you look at as your own personal belief systems within these things. But there has been a progression of time that has taken place. Not one time that it was better than another. For you, there are some things that have happened that has been very significant. You have been wise men have been here in the past. And technological ways of being, some would look at this as not such a technical, logical time, even on this particular planet. For your technologies in other times were great in their own magnificent ways. So there is a progression of the evening to the light. And then there's a dark time, the time of the midnight sun. For there is mythology that yes, there is a bright sun that is here and is shining. And at this winter solstice there is also what we would call the midnight sun. We would say that there may be two suns, where things of the calendars, for instance, converge and there is confusion. It is the things that are in between the confusion, the dark before the light, a progression of wisdom at this time. We would like you, for instance, to take some time to allow yourselves a dark corner, the darkest corner maybe that is within your space. And light a candle, for that is the sun that is within you. That is the light that is within you. And let that represent the new beginning, the new mystery that you may take upon yourselves as the new bit of wisdom. bid you good eve. So there is a progression of time. And at this time you are settling within yourselves, a great spirit within yourselves, and you're allowing yourself more of who you are to come through and dance that flame that is there. And we urge you to greatly look into yourselves at this time, free that spirit and dance within life and your life in general, the passions that you have. Allow the light to shine for everyone, for this is part of your time now. It is a very quick time. For you see yourselves in this great moment here. You have positioned yourselves to be here now, to learn wisdom, to gather more information for yourselves, to become of yourself. One of the thoughts we gave the keeper, and he was not sure whether to speak about this, and he feels this nervousness now, is we will say something about life, one of the great secrets about life. And this may be something that might be hard for you to take in the first bit of this, but we would like you to see the other side of this.
Don't hesitate.
For you are all here trying very hard to become something, to evolve yourselves into things, and that is fine and well. But I will simply say that life and what you're doing does not matter. In a way, it is hard to see such a thing, that life does not matter. For what does matter to you are the great experiences that you have. For there's a great striving that is happening. But we want you to know, the journey is not ever going to be a destination. It is going to always be the experiences. And if you could just let yourself go and enjoy this experience for all that it is, for all that you are, letting go of the smaller things that just aren't so relative to the greater picture. That's why in so many ways we had asked you to meditate, for instance, for you see a new perspective of things. It takes you out of much of the dogma that does not matter, and you see the true value of what does matter to you in your own passionate way. For you take the essence of your creating part of yourself, and you are now moving that forward with a greater power of who you are in the direction of things, by simply letting go and knowing that you are already, dear ones, in the moment of where you should be on your path, that you are now upon this plane of reality, doing exactly what you come here to be. And it is with great honor that we are among such beautiful angels who have chosen to be here without their wings. You are learning how to soar yourselves. It may take increments of time, and this is okay. There is no race. There is no destination. Please remember. It's the beauty of the whole experience of what it is that life is, and the experiences of what it is that you take from this reality. Good, bad, negative, it doesn't matter. You are gaining aspects of yourself, understanding this plane of reality. And now you're about to be birthing yourselves new ideas. And so if you are such ascended, for instance, the end goal, what will that mean? It means many things, but it means that you are now connecting well with yourself, and you're functioning with much more power than you was capable, that you thought was capable. More will start to flow in this energy of what it is that you are, and how you are as a harmonization, as a rhythm, as a great oneness that is being created out of this. As you would see, for instance, a flock of birds have their own rhythm, have their own wave, their own dance. You become more like that as you begin to harmonize your pieces with the other pieces around you. This is a beautiful time to be in such of a wonder of this journey, to see yourselves as you are. not truly understanding what is around the corner, but always looking. Living with, we're trying to find the right word, as a child would, with innocence. For that is a moment that is not quite lived. A moment for you to experience for yourself, discover for yourself a new truth, a new wisdom to bring upon yourself, integrating all that it is with the left and the right, this reality with others, and you are harmonizing yourselves with the physical parts of things and the science parts of things and the beauty of all that there is. We'll open this up for questions.
So we're talking about rhythm. And we do understand that when we attach to a thought, when we attach to an event, when we attach to time, that can break pace of the rhythm that we're in. And I'm speaking for myself, but for me, you did say something, and I know you did it in a way for us to think, but it broke my rhythm because it really rocked my world when you said life doesn't really matter. It was very thought-provoking because it made me stop and think. That created an attachment, and it broke my rhythm. And I'm glad that you did that because it raised my awareness of the importance, but I'd like you just to elaborate a little bit, or do you know where I was going with that question?
We think we understand to some degree, for to say that life does not matter would maybe be an also way of saying that a problem does not matter. It is how you perceive it that matters. It's how you experience this that matters. It's how you take in all of that there is. And to realize it is not the ascension as the goal of all that there is to everything. And once you get there, then, it is that you are in this space now, holding this moment in this present time. It is that power we're talking about. It is that what it is that all that you're trying to focus yourself into becoming is not entirely trying, that the problems that you see yourself in is not always going to be the problems of what you are in. It is simply the way that you are transmuting this as your experience. You can create for yourself new patterns, new rhythms that disrupt the habits, the things that are in your life now. And we are not trying to also say that you must take a quantum leap into a new part of what it is that you are trying to become, for that is very uncomfortable for yourselves. Energetically, it is not quite... We wouldn't say that it wasn't possible, but it would be very difficult and very uncomfortable. But it can be done, and through increments, through finding a vibration that is very dominant within yourselves and allowing yourself to experience this. And that becomes of yourself a new thing. That you are envisioning, reconditioning yourselves, your spirit, your harmonization with source energy that you are. And you're manifesting that within yourselves through each day. You will see the problem still be the residual part of yourself, the past and the new. And you're transitioning this. As you are transitioning much of this in the short amount of time that there is here. Allow yourself, because you will be in this age, and this age is not going to be better than another age this time, and your time from now and the time in your past have all been and have all been the parts that mattered for you. It is not that it does not matter in the entirety of that it does not matter, but it does not matter into the way of thinking that life is a destination. Life is a goal to achieve. For there is something you must be. But we are not also saying to not try to become of yourselves, for that is the progression of your souls. That is the progression of what it is that you would love to have. We are simply to say, let go of the things that you feel like you must hold on to in certain ways. Allow yourselves this journey to enjoy it. For if you saw what it was to be an ascended master, which we find is ironic because you are all masters in this room, having a human experience. If you could see what it is like on the other side, then you would know that it doesn't simply matter of all the things that are here in your personal lives, but it all matters equally as importance because it is all your vibration that is here being reflected on yourself.
So you're talking about then, rather than a destination, the qualities of beingness that we are in the moment. Is that what you're saying?
That's precisely what we are saying.
It's knowing that we have the ability to, just like flowing water, in the moment to transmute, knowing that it's already conditioned for us to continue free and fluid in our movement.
And whether you are this energy of water, or you're vapor, or you are something else entirely different, it is no matter. For you are moving in a linear time in this plane of reality into what it is, and you are evolving yourselves. You're evolving the way you think. You are evolving the way you do things. You're understanding new technology as it comes along. You are seeing new ways of doing things different within yourselves. Different with your relationships. You are seeing new perspectives that you once didn't like, and this is happening on a very rapid pace now. And you're making adjustments very rapidly, and you're quickly understanding the new parts and things that matter to you. For it was for a long time that life was the thing that really would scare people. The death experience, the fear parts of things would many times be the dominant part of what life is. And yet whether life ends on this plane of reality or not, and whether what life means to you, in the greatest of experiences that you can enjoy life, then you'll bring more to yourself in those ways.
Well, with all that, then, it's really then is our flow of life absence as much as possible any fears that we have, because the fear is really what slows us down, does it not, and prevents us from being all we can be in the moment, experiencing the enjoyment that we can enjoy in the moment, and distracts us from the qualities that connect us to all things that we would like to be connected with.
Many times we see that fear does slow your progression down, and whatever it is that you would like to be experiencing, you have bought into some sort of fear that structures and things that prohibit you from doing those things. But you must also integrate fear itself. For what is life without any fear? We may see that is not quite living with the true fullness of what it is that you could become. Now, we are not saying now, hey, look into fear, for you have done the most of that, and you've lived most of that, and you've become and realized much of that through yourselves. In fact, it is much different. We say, look at who you are, in the most powerful parts of you. What is dominant that wants to come through? What is in your heart? Bring it about. It is your peace now.
There's got to be different ways to get there, though, because there are some people who...
There is many ways, and there is no right or wrong way to get there.
Okay, what you're saying is that there are necessary fears and there are unnecessary fears.
And I would appreciate some insight as to how to get rid of the unnecessary fears.
If you were to travel this universe with absolutely no fear, you may see this as a more foolish sort of thing. Now, we are not saying that this is the keeper speaking. He's worried again. He was worried about... Well, we won't. It is that with the absence entirely of fear itself, that you are not living truly what it is. For there is maybe pain if you were to get on a bicycle for the first time and you were to fall down. And to get back up is also creating that, knowing that you can do this, you can learn this. And you eventually do ride that bicycle without hurting yourselves. There is somewhat of a fear there. And so you take more caution with those things. So in a general perspective, fear does serve you. But you must understand that all the energy that is around you, the Master finds a way for the energy to allow it to serve them. So you create the rhythms in your life. You create the habits. You create your reality through what is within yourselves. What it is you expect to see. Whether it comes in abundance in the forms that it is. The conditioning that you have understood and you have bought into in this particular life. And maybe even your cellular memories of who you are and what it is that you do. And how you have transpired through time in abundance. Recondition some of that and you will see a change within your vibration. If your vibration can hold on to that long enough for it will start to begin to reflect itself. It cannot be any different from that. And so integrating all the tools that are available to you, you can begin to allow yourselves, the Master, to come through. The Master of what it is, the passions that you would love to enjoy, begins to and must come through in the same ways. There are many ways, no right or wrong way. Yes, there is fears. You have known this for a long time, but you are already taking your power back. Look at the fears. Look at what it is that you may needs. Look at what the universe can and cannot do, for it is limitless. And many of you already know that here.
Do you think most human fears have revolved around dying, death, because we didn't understand that we are eternal?
Yes, because it is a mystery. Because there is this veil that is here that for you to look at this as a much linear time that you are born and yes, just like a birth, there is a darkness before the wisdom, before the light, before you gain on and take on more and more and more into your vibration and integrate yourselves and master just even the coordination of yourselves.
So, since there are many ways to be as you're describing, as well as since every individual walks with different qualities of sorts to find their place in that centered way, I still think that there should be some common denominators within all of us that, and maybe we're overthinking it, but common denominators that some elements, some qualities that we can all contemplate upon that would support our focus, our daily focus. Is there?
Yes, of course there is. The answer is, each of you have this answer. These answers, naturally, are within yourselves. It is you that has this answer to the keys to all there is for yourselves. For you are here. In this particular part of reality, you are here. And we find this rather somewhat amusing, for you are bumping into each other and you're saying, where is God? Where's the Creator?
Maybe we're just getting bigger.
Ignite that light that is within yourselves. You're beginning to see that you can create much of your reality. You see it through somewhat of the things that you want and how you're able to get it. And there are small things on small scales. You have realized your dreams in some ways. Many of you have an antsy feeling within yourselves. The keeper had an antsy feeling, similar. He's thinking about this now. For when you begin to exercise what is within your heart, what is within your soul, this antsy feeling begins to go away because you begin to express more of your reality. Now you're beginning to paint the canvas of all that is around you with your energy. And your energy is beginning to precede your future, beginning to precede where you begin on your path, where you are, what you are attracting to you. And the experiences, good or bad, or whatever it is to you, you are bringing this in. And when you step more into the fullness of what it is that you are, as the creator being, as the creator of much as what is happening on this reality, then you begin to flow and walk into that grace that we were speaking of earlier times. In this natural flow of yourself, you are empowered. You are stepping in more to a fuller part of yourselves. And you are supported by all that is there, all that there is, all that the universe can bestow upon you. For if you were to recondition yourself with abundance, for instance, there is an avalanche of abundance coming my way. For it is always circulating here, and I am a part of it, and I am one with that. Then you begin to see that you can harness so much more to your lives. And the magic begins for you in the mysteries, in the people that we are not saying that one person is going to be better and that you must teach all of this to others, for they are all living their own particular life, reality. You can expand now. You can step up. We are inviting many of you to begin that part of yourselves. Step up. Yes, there are fears here. Yes, there are things that are in the way. But just simply allow yourself the ideas of what it is that are within yourselves to come through.
So staying present in the moment, I know, is a big part of that. And I think what we're learning, too, is the power of being present. All of a sudden, a fear arises of, am I going to be able to stay in the present? So being more and more in the present, is that one of the things that is really helping us to fulfill what it is you've been talking about?
Yes, because all of your power is in the present. It is in the time that you have. In this moment, in that next moment. But the present changes both the past and your future. It changes who you are. It is who you are now. Now. New ideas will always continue to flow to you. Light will tend to speed up, and you will begin to comprehend it more on a faster scale. Being present with yourself will unlock much of yourself. Being present with all that there is. You begin to change reality when you begin to really become understanding with yourselves, finding the true connections that you have there, that you have been asking for, many of you, desperately. It's all there. We're asking you to go there. Find that within yourselves. Be present in that. Manifest more of that. We are saying that you may not become this in a moment, an instantaneous moment. But as you hold this new vibration within yourselves of what you are, in the most powerful way that you enjoy things, that you bring your passion and your love to who the core of what you are, that more of yourself is lighting up. And you begin to connect the pieces to the wisdom and to all that you are trying to attract to yourselves on this path. You become your own bit of vortex sucking in the things that you would like to have, transmuting the things that you do not like to have and enjoy not so much. It won't go away entirely unless your vibration changes entirely. Just know that you do not need to look into the past and beat yourself up. Do not have so much guilt about what you did. Have so much judgment about what you have done. But just to simply be experiencing present now.
I can see where we have, as a consciousness, living more and more fearlessly, or addressing fear at a higher rate and overcoming it within ourselves, mainly because we're not always totally in survival, that mode any longer, but upgrading our energy field. But the one thing that I like to ask about is grief. Where does I can see how sad we are that we haven't achieved more, that we haven't changed as a humanity. We're lagging behind in our humanitarian consciousness, how we respect and treat other people and situations that come about. Can you speak to us about grief for a moment?
Well, in some of what you have said, there are many different things that comes up. And we will talk about your recent history and how you may see some of these changes. For about 200 years ago, there has been great changes that have happened rapidly. You've experienced many wars on this planet. And that is beginning to change, although it does not entirely change. There is much chaos. For your guy, you are all working through the chaos of many things. You are putting it all, the whole spread on the table. And you are seeing it all. Grief comes in many of the different forms. For some of you are thinking about the recent shooting that has taken place. Grief comes in a way that there is something missing. Something that is lost. Or that there is less hope on something. But these are energies. And you are transmuting many of these times. And times have changed rapidly for humanity. It may not seem that way for all. But there has overall been a vibration that has been changing the way that others look at each other. The ways that if you were to look at Earth from a distance, you would see no borders. You would see an Earth. You would see that there is a oneness that is there, and it is beginning to come more and more like that. It is not always going to be completely harmonized with everything that Earth has in the nature, in the rhythms that you have here, the cars that are passing by, all that is here. For there's going to be somewhat of a disturbance, and there's going to be different ideas always flowing. And in this mass chaos, there is going to be some that do not feel so much of the grief part of it, but a completely opposite feeling before they are understanding and experiencing an entirely different part of themselves. Grief comes in the way of being able to share an energy, to be able to support, show sympathy. And so it does serve you, as all of the emotions do on all of the scales that are there. It is telling you something. It is showing you many of the things that are in your reality that you may or may not want to continue with. But it brings about new ideas. As the hardships may be, it creates new realities. It also is a reflection of what it is that humanity supports. So you begin to see that as well.
on one level, you're also saying, I think, that this world is going towards harmony, always, as it always has been. It's just that there's refinements that are being made by us and all other people. And it sounds like the energy of this world is amping up to make those changes a little bit more dominant, and that we are caught up in that flow and finding our way to flow with it. And at the same time, the young ones that are coming in now with the younger parents who are more open are not conditioning them as negatively as we were as kids, and we have to relearn right now. And as a result, the mosaic is coming together from that standpoint. Is that correct? I mean, is that a...
Well, yes, there is new energy with the little ones that are coming in, and yes, the older ones are holding an older energy, but there is not necessarily a good or bad energy. It is a flow of nature. It is a flow that and what humanity is, and they are flowing into the vibrations that they are becoming naturally. And yes, there is going to be great chaos, but and there has been some discussion on this side about that. For you have transmuted some of this already. There has been great things that we thought would happen here, that you would destroy much of yourselves already. And surprisingly, you have not in many ways. And yet you have made other things known. You are also standing up in certain ways, as we see in other countries, protests of things, of basically more voices, more people wanting to be heard, united, coming together in this, in a way of becoming more one. More power is given, and also there's an exchange here at this time, especially, that there is agendas that are becoming noticed, and there is an exchange as an empowered sort of way. It is a natural there has been wisdoms that have come through this earth. And recently, there is a new wisdom that has happened in this northern hemisphere, and it gets passed back over to the southern hemisphere. As there are many different things and ideas, new wisdoms, new ideas that have been passing back and forth through the ages of time. And there is the ancient ancestors of who you are and the wisdom that they had carried in those times. And they understood much. And you are understanding a new part of a reality as you are spinning in the cosmos of what it is that you are. And so there is a conglomeration in this moment, and yes, in over eons of time, of much of what has happened here. And you are changing much of yourselves through this ages of time. You are the leading edge of what it is that you are understanding and you are experiencing, and you are bringing your own light in your own way and you traverse much of what the universe is. For in ancient times they used to look at the stars, and in Sirius they would see the feminine side of things, and in Orion they saw the masculine of things. This is where they also saw their ancestors. And there is new myths that are happening. And whether you believe certain things or not, it does not matter. For there is many times and many ages where you have learned different wisdoms of things. And you've created different realities out of those things. It is the experience that you are in this present moment. That humanity itself is beginning to redefine themselves and how they see themselves and how they present themselves. And how you present yourself.
Do you think that, at least from my own perspective, realizing that I create my own reality has caused a lot of the enlightenment that is happening, especially in maybe not just in this country, I think it's happening all over the world. But I think in the past, so many of us have always felt that life just happened to us. And now we're realizing that it's what we think about is what creates life. Do you think that's what's kind of helping the enlightenment, the awareness?
The awareness takes place within yourself. It is your perception of life that gives it meaning.
So it's more standing in our own power, not being a group of followers like we have in the past.
That's correct. It's standing from your own perspective and what life means to you. As you would see a situation, for instance, you've seen this many times. For one situation, it may be a positive thing for one other person and a great negative thing for another person. Both experiencing, both being outsiders, but both with different perceptions on the same situation. Life is that. Life is that to you. Life is what you make it.
And ultimately, everybody makes it what they want to. And the ultimate focus, however, is it not harmony or a flavor of goodness or coming together or connect? I mean, in other words, it's towards the light rather than and something balanced and harmonic rather than something negative or towards the opposite of that. Is that not a true statement?
We would say to some degrees, that is a true statement. Life doesn't always turn out the way you want it to be. It is more of the way that is within yourselves. And many people don't feel that they are in control of much of what is happening in their life. They are seeing this as very much an external reality happening to them. And unfortunately, it's a sad way to look at things, but it is a way to look at things. We won't say that it is one way or another, but there is much more that you can grasp from life, and you can reach out and take the gems from life, the things that are beautiful, the light that is there, and hold that, and become that. Be that part of yourself that you have been wanting to experience out of life.
We've been told that the journey on life is ultimately to see the placement of heaven on earth. Is that then, from that perspective, to be seen from an individual perspective rather than a global perspective? In other words, since there's these changes that go on within us individually, and we do cross bridges that are ultimately aren't ones we want to, and we may do that for our entire lives, the focus is really to find heaven on earth for us individually rather than as a world. Is that?
What you put your personal focus into is going to be the external part of yourselves, and that is going to be what you define as the humanity as a whole, and the integration of all that you are, and in your vibration that you are putting your energy into. That becomes part of the humanity that is in your local circle, which helps to become something else. It spreads an idea. You will see that when one shines very brightly, stands within their own power, within their own source energy of who they are and who they have wanted to be, they stand very strongly. They light up much of the world in that way. They are seen by many in general. And you could say the same with many dark energies. It has been the same way. But there has been a co-constructive idea that is all that is happening here has been coexisting with certain ideas, whether they are liking it or not. It is part of the vibration that is here, that is present here. And you are changing as things do change over time.
Can you explain that in the context of what happened in Newtown last week? How can you relate that to? Because that's really.
It's the energies of all that there is. It's been a progression. There has been great many things. And if this was 200 years ago, you may be talking about how a tribe of Indians may have attacked a fort. There has been things that have happened over time, and it is expressing itself. It is part of the buffet that is here, of energy. It is within your vibrations that there are certain things that are happening, right, so that are not so pleasant.
All those energies are within us. So if we see that it's happening, how do we clear that energy that's within us so that that becomes less and less prevalent?
It's the idea of what it is that you put your energy into.
Not clear.
For instance, there has been a great wind. This wind has been a great clearing of energy that is here. There has been other times when you have had these fires that have been in this local area. This has been a clearing of another type of energy as well. You go through these clearings within yourself. Now this would be like clearing your mind. A state of meditation, for instance, would help balance you, bring you to your center of what it is that you are, bring you to a new perspective. And when you understand that, that clears much of the dogma that you may be in. And looking at one situation, you can zoom into a situation and look at that for all it is. But what is happening around the world and the greatness that is all around us, the beauty that is there, is also happening on significant scales, just as that very event is happening simultaneously. It is what you put your focus and your intent on that creates the changes in all of humanity. It is the wave of all that there is. To say that there is not going to be any chaos in the future would probably be very false. For there's always going to be chaos. There's always going to be things that have happened. Things that are within your vibration. There's always going to be that dark and the light. But you are beginning to balance it. Look at all the facets of what it is and know how to move through yourself and how you feel about certain things. What is accepting to you in this vibration? That is how vibrations begin to change. That is how much of humanity moves forward. It's allowing of things, whether it is limitations that are those things, you are allowing those things into your reality, and so it is. It is allowing the fears to be the most prominent thing, and that is what you do. Or, for instance, many times, mostly, it is out of not trying to face pain, to avoid pain. But there is another side of things that you can be focusing into yourselves. And this will bring a vibration, a new vibration, as a collective, to yourself, of what it is that you would want to be, to manifest more forward, and step into yourself in that energy.
Would you say then, though, that when things like this happen, like the shooting of the innocent children, we should say a prayer for them and give our condolences and then take our minds off of it and put it on something positive?
If it is beneficial for you to do that, yes. For instance, if one of your children was involved with that, it may be much harder to do such a thing. And we're just looking at the variety of ways of the same situation, and yes, you can bring a harmonization, a healing to that sort of area of, and a knowingness that this can be something that can be changed. It is a feeling that you do not quite feel that is a part of you, but it is in a way because it is part of the vibration that is aligned with all of humanity, as well as the good that is happening on this earth. And much good is happening here.
Why do we as humans seem to always dwell on the really negative stuff?
It is the same reasons why humans love movies so much. It's the same reasons you have become here. It's the great drama that is here. It's the great emotions that you experience. The highs and the lows. This is the fastest roller coaster around in some ways. You have looked at this dynamic of what this earth plane has for you. We can't really say what it is for you, for it is going to be your experience and the way you personally perceive this. But this is just what we see from kind of being the outside looking in.
So I just want to ask, God, I feel like there's an elephant in the room. So how are these kids? Are they Did they make it to the other side? Are they
fine.
okay? Can you tell us that we should be happy and joyous because they are? Can you give us an insight, information? I know you hate doing this, but
They are fine. And it is, you see things from one side of reality and you see a loss. And we would see a gain in some ways because they have transpired, they have gone and moved on to another part of themselves. And yes, they are fine. As you will be fine too when you experience this part of yourselves called death.
It's the parents that are having the harder time.
oh no.
Well, and even us here, I mean,
I'm having a
Everybody
hard
is.
time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But especially the parents.
But we have to also keep in mind that it was their choice. The children chose it.
Did you?
They knew. Their great wisdom said, I'm going to be in this path.
Yeah, it's my time.
Get it?
So we have to trust their wisdom, that they're on the path they need to be on.
So our discussions just keep it alive negatively inside us,
Yeah.
realistically.
Whether it is negative or positive, these are lessons that you are learning and you are transmuting yourselves into as a whole collective. For they have been a part to a great situation that has been looked at and has created some changes in the way people think about things.
Would you not agree, though, however, that if we as individuals really are focusing on being all that we can to sidestep and maintain a focus on things that don't feel good to us, then that slow us down?
But you learn at the same time.
Does it matter in this great race, as you might look at it as, that you are slowing down or speeding up? Is the experience again? It's the perspective that you're beginning to change. And that changes much of who you are and the belief systems of what you are.
Does do that.
And it has made us all come together, in a way. It really has.
Tragedies usually do that.
Yeah, lots of things.
These times do. Every time something happens to disproportion, it strengthens.
We would say, do monitor what is happening here. But in the past, there was these sort of things happening also. And you are becoming more sensitive to what is here. You're becoming more sensitive to what it is within yourselves. As you are transmuting much of these energies here, there will always be chaos in some ways. People with belief systems. Things that they wanted to experience for this life.
Back to rhythms. If
Oh yeah.
with this, with the polar shift and the Earth shifting its axis, where we're looking at a new time, a new awareness in all of this. How does it change the rhythm of the Earth? I mean, the Earth, I guess kind of that the Earth and all the planets and the energy around us has had this certain rhythm, a pulse. And so all this is changing all of a sudden. Will it change that pulse and change the rhythm around the Earth greatly in the next few days and then get back to a calmer rhythm? Or will it be kind of a chaotic rhythm around the Earth for a while until things settle down?
We would say there's a lot of parts to this question that you're asking. There has been an increase of rhythms now, and there has been a resetting of even the planet's rotation. And so this rotation is speeding up. Even your day has been slightly smaller. You wouldn't notice it too much because these are millicules of seconds here that we are talking about. A part of a second. And with this, there is, yes, great changes. There is a compressing of time and of energy that is happening here. You feel this now. As you have come out of a way of being, a structured sort of way of being. You have organized yourselves in the ways that you are now. For you were more organized with the day and the night, that you would sleep all of the night and all be awake during the daytime to perform whatever labors that was here in humanity during those times. Now you are organizing yourselves differently. There is a new, different part of who you are now. So that creates a new rhythm of life. For instance, the keeper himself, he is working a night shift and he has organized himself. He actually sleeps better during the day. But these are organizations that happen within individual matters, and as a collective, these organizations, these rhythms are changing drastically. And the rhythms of what it is that you are now doing in terms of labor has changed significantly. For you are still doing things that support yourselves and your survival bits of parts of things, but you are also understanding and taking on new things of yourself. So there are new rhythms that is happening, yes, and you're organizing yourselves already to these rhythms. And it is the structure that you would like to put towards this, the rhythm that you would like to add to your particular flavor of life. You give the rhythm, you give the beat of life, you give the walk, you set the pace. It will be natural for you to set the pace to whatever it is, but not so much to be concerned with what is the new pace that is here. But what is the pace that feels right within yourselves? For you already have the indicators there. And you will naturally set along the groove of what it is that feels most comfortable to you. And you'll be on this particular pace. As you are in this all pattern now, you are in this room. You create these patterns for yourselves. You organize yourselves in these ways. And these ways have been changing drastically over time as we've seen the energies in recent times. You have done well, and you are changing into something else. What is going to be the new rhythms is going to be determined by humanity. It's going to be determined by your own personal epiphanies. So you set the stage, because you're on it.
I had a dream a couple weeks ago about 4 earthquakes going off at the same time, and they were hugely devastating all around the world. Is that something that we're going to see?
There will be adjustments that will be made throughout this world. There will be things that are happening. But it has surprised us, for the earthquakes that have happened already, we were not sure that Japan would even be still an island. For so much has been happening, transmuting energies. And you have all been a part to all of this. For you are connected to the earth. For what is happening within yourselves is also a manifestation of part of what is here. Whether these earthquakes that you have had in your dream may come to pass, we're not entirely sure. Part of it is the vibrations that are within yourselves. There's going to be great energy already with the lighting up of the planets that are in your solar system now. Already your scientists are predicting a great earthquake that could possibly happen in China. But there are certain things we are not trying to bring you into a state of worriness. These are adjustments that the earth makes and performs in all parts of two.
Will other life forms on other planets be affected?
Always will be affected. Not in the same great way that you are affected, no, but because you are parts of them and they are parts of you. This is somewhat a part of them. For you are living different parts of your beingness here, and that affects things on a grander scale. If you were to look at this planet, for instance, as the beingness that it is part of an organism altogether, in the solar system that you are parted to. It is greatly affecting the energy that is around here and the energy of your particular galaxy.
We will have a global warming.
There has been warming, yes.
It's a part of her process too, though.
Yes, it is part of the Earth's natural process at this time. There is a cooling of the Earth, and yes, there is a warming time of the Earth as well.
Your last answer about the Earth and actions of the Earth. Am I understanding that we are the creators of what is happening, and it is still up to us as a species as to whether there'll be devastating earthquakes or very mild earthquakes, using earthquakes as just an example, but it is still up to us as a species to determine that.
You are a species upon this Earth, and the Earth has harmonization with you. You are one in the energy form of Earth. Now, there are different kingdoms that are upon this Earth, many different types of kingdoms. You are just like a crystal kingdom is here. They hold their own wisdom, their own light. As there is a plant kingdom that holds its own light and brings its own grounding of it, as there is an animal kingdom that flows energy that is naturally within their own harmonies of the waters and of the land. You are a human being upon this planet, the greatest of its class, in the way that you are able to hold your energy, understand light, transmute your realities, and yes, you are a part of nature itself. Maybe not in quite conjunction and perfect harmony with it, but you are part of this earth. And in doing so, you are in part with Gaia in this sense. You are in part with this Mother Earth that you live on. And so you coexist and you co-create together in this sense. So there is a part of you, a part of humanity, and a part of Earth that all come together and recreate themselves. This Earth recreates themselves. You recreate yourself here. And there is a flow, a rhythm, that is happening here.
So is that part of our awakening, is to our own awareness that we are co-creators with all of the kingdoms, that we're part, we're not all of it, and we're not responsible for all of it, but we are part of it.
You are beginning to take your own power back and becoming and realizing the responsibility of that. And so you are bringing and you are harmonizing your energy. As you feel something within yourselves, it doesn't feel so quite right. You ate something that you didn't really feel that you should have, or you looked at it and you made the sense and the idea, you connected those two things together, feeling that that was not such a good thing to take within yourself, and you feel a pollutant within yourself. And it does not feel so well. This is a vibration overall that you are putting off. And so it is. You have your ways of dealing with those things. Now, when you are taking in something that you enjoy, you are experiencing something you enjoy very much, whether it is another piece of food that you enjoy and is both very healthy, and it could be a shake, we will say, a shake of blueberries and whatever it is that you guys imagine here now. And you feel that it is a good vibration that you are taking within yourselves, and so you take on this new life patterning that you are, and this brings on a new energy in itself. That is part of the rhythms that you are doing. It is part of the responsibility that you are taking on to yourselves. And you are coexisting, whether you are taking on something that you don't feel, and much of it is the way you perceive something that changes the outcome, whether it is a good or bad thing, you are labeling it as such. and it becomes more of that, more than what the energy actually is, because of some of your perception that you are meshing with. We did say meshing, not messing.
I like his humor.
We are messing.
That did change the rhythm.
Okay.
Well, let's wind it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what about the other entity? Did you want to do something?
They have already presented themselves in a small little way.
Yeah, they're the ones that said good night.
Were they?
Yes.
Well, tell them thank you.
Yeah.
It has been a wonderful experience to talk with you. Know that this is a moment of time. A grand moment. A moment that you have placed a lot of emphasis on. Make it your own grand moment. You are the creators. You are the ones that are being empowered. Treat each other with respect. Allow and nurture each other. You're all stepping up. Allow yourself this. Allow yourself to dance with this new light. Light up that light within yourself, that sun within yourself. There's a great new universe that you're playing with. Play well.
Thank you.
That's all it is.
Thank you for enriching.
Thank you. Thank you.
That
Merry
was it.
Christmas.